And this language has to come from the board, not OMC. Again, we're separate entities, have separate functions, but we are here to support you. If you would like us to give a shot at crafting that language, we certainly can and run it through the board. Or if Rusty wants to attempt that himself, that's certainly acceptable also.
Well, here, my suggestion, and I mean, obviously I'm just the chair of a subcommittee here, but if my suggestion would be is if possibly maybe the Office of Medical Cannabis could take a stab at crafting some language and share it with us, including sharing with Rusty to get any comments. And then we can all discuss that at the board meeting, and Rusty could give his, his input both to the medical cannabis office, but also ultimately to the full board. So we can try to get some language in our ultimate recommendation. If that's what the full board does, that would be more palatable to the legislature.
Yeah, it seems like since we're removing, or the board's proposing removing language from the act, it shouldn't be a complicated proposal.
Okay. Anybody have anything else before we go to the public comment? Doesn't sound like it. And we did note, I mean, obviously that Dr. McMillian couldn't be here, but his views were completely supportive of this. I'm sure if anyone for the public comment has questions, that he'd be happy to answer those as well at the appropriate time. And I'm sure he'll be at our full board meeting. So with that, I think we could open it up at this point to any questions from the public that was kind enough to join with us here in this virtual world.
Okay, so again, as we discussed early in the meeting, for anyone that missed that, if you want to make a comment, please utilize the chat feature, enter your name, we'll call on you one by one, and you'll have 90 seconds to comment. Can you see those, Mr. Forbes?
Sure. Let's go ahead and start with, is it Kevin Wall?
Yeah, good evening. Just want to first say thank you to all you guys. I know you're volunteering, Jason, for your leadership. You guys are creating something that's going to be around forever, and I know it's a hard task. But I think you guys went in the right direction on the conditions. Our last work group, another couple more things that were worked on was the home grow. I know DC, I think they allow 6 plants. New Mexico allows 12 mature plants per household. So that's kind of a language that I'd like to see. Maybe instead of eliminating per person, maybe per household for amount of plants. And reciprocity agreements. New Mexico accepts any medical cards across the country. DC is the same way. I think West Virginia could benefit from that, from the surrounding states. I know Ironton, Ohio, South Point, Ohio, they kind of got left out. So I think the surrounding states could benefit if West Virginia would adopt the reciprocity, to allow anybody. Plus, we're a tourism state too, and I'd hate for, somebody to miss out on their medicine because they can't come from, say, you're coming from Colorado or coming from Washington, to West Virginia, and they can't buy their medicine here while they're visiting our state. So just a few things I'd like to add. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for the comments. Obviously, we spent a lot of time at the last subcommittee meeting talking about the home grow issue, and we'll be talking more about that at the full board meeting. So I appreciate those comments and the other comments there. And thank you. Let's move on to, is it Danette Condon? I hope I didn't pronounce that wrong, but I probably did.
No, you got it right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to speak to having doctors make the decision. I've been a caretaker for 2 people with cancer who use medical cannabis. I'm also a home birth midwife, recently retired. And actually cannabis for hyperemesis gravidarum, when pregnant women cannot stop throwing up, it can actually jeopardize the health of their pregnancy. And being an old hippie, I know of these remedies and have seen them used judiciously by women in order to be able to get through a pregnancy. And it's worked much better than any pharmaceuticals that could be offered, because usually the pharmaceuticals have long-term effects. Also, being 71 and having seen cannabis used by pregnant women over my lifetime, I can assure you that with proper nutrition and other good care, that the children and the mothers do not see ill effects. I also want to speak to having smokable, because you can control portions better that way. If you use edibles or oils, I think it's more likely that you won't have as good a control over, I guess, the use and the effects of the marijuana. I'm kind of nervous speaking about this, so sorry about my voice. I just think that the more control that people have over a plant that God put on the earth for us to use for medicine, the better for the people. Marijuana was a medicine until politics got involved. And so I'd like to see it back in its rightful place as a medicine to be used in a continuum. I know that my husband would be dead from cancer if we didn't have the modern medicine, radiation, surgery, things of that sort, but marijuana has a very significant place in our medical compendium. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your comments. I know we all appreciate them and appreciate hearing those experiences. And it's helpful to hear from people who have a broad range of backgrounds from this stuff. So that's very helpful. And I know we all appreciate that. Thank you. Let's move on to Jesse Worsk.
Hi, thanks for your time. Just wanted to put in a quick comment that we really appreciate the initiative here today. Our team has certainly seen a lot of medical cannabis patients that have found relief on conditions that aren't currently on the approved list, and just wish you the best of luck with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to comment publicly?
Again, just enter your name in the text in the chat box if you do want to comment.
I'm not seeing anyone else, so I guess at this point we'll just move back to, do any of the board members have any further discussion tonight? Oh, wait, hold on, there's a question. Oh, yeah, is that Miss Noon? Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Hi, yes. So I'm just wondering the purpose of this meeting. Now, what is like the next step? Do you guys have to take this to get approved to someone? I'm just confused on the whole process.
So, Jesse, not to cut you off, but Miss Noon, I would ask that you send these questions to the Office of Communications at the HHR.
Yeah, and that's fine, but I don't mind. I'm not with the HHR, and I'm happy to answer your question. So just so you understand from what our role is, this is a subcommittee meeting of the full Medical Cannabis Advisory Board. We are all, well, not all, but everyone that's here on the subcommittee are volunteer members of this board. And our role is to make recommendations to the legislature and the governor regarding the medical cannabis laws in West Virginia. And so all we can do is make a recommendation from this subcommittee about removing the serious medical conditions and opening it up to physicians. That recommendation, which we've now voted and said that we'd like to make, will go to the full Medical Cannabis Board at the next meeting. The Cannabis Board then will decide whether we as a total board want to make a recommendation to the legislature to change the law. We can't, as an advisory board, actually change the law ourselves. We can only investigate, put these things together, make a recommendation to the legislature, who would then have to decide if they want to do that. So from our perspective, we're sitting here as a subcommittee, and we're making a decision about, do we make this recommendation to the full board? Then the full board will hear our recommendation at the next meeting. And then if the full board votes to make that recommendation to the legislature, we will send that to the legislature, who then will look at our recommendation and would have to change the law based on that recommendation. I hope that helps some.
No, that definitely did help me. Thank you so much.
But please, I didn't mean to cut Jason off or go a different direction. I understand that DHHR would like questions submitted to them directly so they can answer on behalf of the Office of Medical Cannabis. I want to be very clear that I'm the chair of this particular subcommittee that's meeting tonight, and I can answer for myself in that position. I'm not affiliated with DHHR. But for DHHR to give you an answer, that's got to come from a request to them, okay?
Yeah, and Jason, how do I go about doing that?
So let's discuss that offline.
Okay.
I'm sure communications probably already has your contact info, or we can get it and we'll follow up with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And no problem at all, Mr. Forbes. Again, we have different roles.
No, that's what I just want to be clear about, because a lot of people get that confused. I mean, I get it all the time where they think that the advisory board is part of DHHR, or we're speaking for the state. We're a group that's appointed to this, appointed by the governor to sit on the advisory board and make recommendations. And we come from different walks of life. I mean, I'm an attorney that has a background with marijuana laws. Obviously, there's people like Rusty here that have a very different role from that, and Joe. And so we're all coming from different perspectives into this and have different roles.
I've just got a quick question before we wrap up for Jason, if I could.
Sure.
What do the patient registration numbers, what are they looking like at this point?
So I didn't check it today, but roughly we're in the mid 1800s.
Okay, thank you.
Things are accelerating a little bit since we've did our bonus time added to the early registration patients. We're going up 150 patients a week at this point. So more than previously. We would still like to see more patient participation, obviously, but I think that'll come as industry becomes operational. And I can tell the members that we anticipate the first plants being grown now in the first week of July. So we have moved up the timeline for that pretty significantly.
Awesome. And just on behalf of I can't even count how many patients have reached out to me since the DHHR, since the Office of Medical Cannabis released the information saying, that you were going to extend the valid card date. That's awesome. Thank you all for doing that. That really alleviated a lot of people's concerns with registering now. So I'm hoping that that's also helping get those registration numbers up.
Yeah, I think it definitely is. And, we definitely listen to concerns from the public. That concern was brought up during the last work group meeting. And of course, other folks have reached out to the office, and we definitely take those concerns to heart. Now we can't always act on every one of them, but if we can, we try to make that happen.
Well, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jesse, I have one final question. The addictions professionals are having a conference in August, and they would like a presentation, just the status of what's going on with the board. Jason, is that a possibility that I could get someone from the department to participate on a panel with a few of us? And we're just sharing facts. We're not nothing more than that, just sharing facts. We're not really trying to debate anything. Just to kind of
so
people would like it.
That's definitely possible, Joe. I'm doing that for a lot of different groups. However, again, I do want to point out that I can speak for the Office of Medical Cannabis. If they want a speaker directly from the board, perhaps we may look at Dr. Amjad or someone else. But again, we can discuss that offline. Okay. I'll reach out to you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I'm good, and I need to sign off because my minions are looking at me in my car window.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. You all have a great evening. I could make a motion to adjourn our meeting if we're done.
I think there's no more comments, were there, Jason? Are we good?
Yeah, I don't see any. This was a quick one.
Yeah, I think it was. I think we were all on the same page. All right. Rusty, anything else?
No, thank you all. Thank you all for your input, and thank you all for, again, the dedication to improving this program and facilitating better patient access. And I mean, it's my entire life has been dedicated to fighting for West Virginia patients. And I truly appreciate everything that you guys do. Appreciate everyone over at the Office of Medical Cannabis for trying to, working doubly hard to get this program up and running. So I truly appreciate everything everyone's doing.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rusty.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I think we're adjourned.
Thank you, Jesse. Bye-bye.